Hello, Internet. This is Daniel with Driving Dragons, and just welcome to the next GM short. Please forgive the additional road noise for the day. I'm driving the backup car, and hopefully we don't get too many bumps and bangs. This comes out good. See you on the other side. First GM tip of the day is to remember the economics of your world. What I mean is that you have to understand how things work in terms of magic items, treasure, that sort of thing. It's a major problem in Dungeons and Dragons, just as a whole, because of how the video game mentality has kind of taken over D&D. But you see it creeping into things like Cyberpunk and Call of Cthulhu from time to time too, and Top Secret and any of your other games. The long and short of it is it goes like this. The Dungeon Master's Guide, equipment book, whatever, is not the Sears catalog. It is not for you, your players, to just flip through and say, this is all the stuff I can buy, I want to go buy it. Especially when you start talking about the more powerful, rarer type things that are for higher level characters or for more advanced characters and wealthier characters. What you're really looking at, a lot of times those values are not even in those books as a, this is what you can buy it for type guide. They're in there to give the GM a comparative number so they can kind of see where it fits in balance-wise. So when I'm looking at, say, the Dungeon Master's Guide in D&D, and I can tell, all right, a 5th level character is supposed to have 5,000 gold pieces of wealth total as a character, and no more than one item should be 25% of that, so no single item should be worth more than 1,250 gold pieces. And a +1 sword is 1,000 gold pieces, so that's very well within the realm of what that 5th level character should have. A Vorpal +5 sword has like 100,000 gold piece value, so that tells me that my Vorpal +5 sword is wildly unbalanced for my 5th level character. As a matter of fact, it's 100 times more powerful than my +1 sword. The other thing to keep in mind with that is when you go into a town, towns have certain kinds of economies. If you live in a small rural farming community where the average income is, say, $25,000 a year, you're not going to pull up to the general store and sell them a Ferrari. Because even if they had the money to buy that Ferrari, they're never going to be able to sell it in their community because their community doesn't have people that have Ferrari kind of money. Same thing. If you walk in with even like a +2 sword that has a gold piece value that is essentially the entire economy of this small village, that shopkeeper is never going to buy that sword. Definitely not for full market value. So it's important in terms of game balance as well, because you don't want to have your players going in and becoming radically wealthy in a way that doesn't fit the world. You've got to have bigger cities. That even in a high magic world, you got to have larger cities and larger amounts of a larger economy in order to afford these kind of things. Great mechanic for it. This is what I'm going to leave you with. Cyberpunk Red, I think, has the best mechanic in the world for this. They have two tiers of it. The first tier is the Fixer. The Fixer is a lifestyle role. It's kind of like a class. Not really, but the lifestyle path of a Fixer. To buy anything over a certain price, you have to be a Fixer. Nobody else can find these things. They're too hard to find. So the Fixer's class ability is essentially their ability to find these other things that are more expensive, that are harder to find. Then once you get over a certain limit, even a Fixer has to roll a specialized skill check to see if they can find that item, because that's how rare and hard to find it is. Sure, you can buy it if you got the eddies, but finding it in and of itself requires a special skill because it's that kind of rarity is not easy to find. The second stage of that mechanic is a kind of a regionalism with the economy. They'll come in and they'll say that this is the regional economy. The regional economy is set at €1,000 or 1,000 eddies. That means that nothing more than 1,000 eddies can ever be found in there. And anything over 500 requires a ton of extra special stuff, and really most things are going to average less than 100. And it, based on what area of town you're in or what region you're in, that can be increased or decreased to represent those more wealthy and more affluent areas or those more destitute areas and how hard it is to find things. This is a great mechanic to think about your game balance. That's the tip for the day. Talk to you again soon.